Avi, I'm filming.
Hey Abba, we wanted to do something a little different for you this year. If you remember, for your 60th birthday party, we made a video with people who you don't know saying happy birthday to you. And this time, we're doing something a little different. Happy 70th birthday, Abba. Hope you enjoy.
Oh, dear Lord. You made many, many poor people. I realize, of course, it's no shame to be poor. But it's no great honor either. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune?
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to bless you on your birthday. So many memories. We began in the 60s. I remember the first time you walked into the synagogue. You came from B'nai Jeshurun. And you came a very long way. And our lives were intertwined in a very profound way. First of all, from the beginning of the shul, you understood my dream of outreach. And you were always exceedingly helpful in an artistic way. And then with the first dream of our Torah, high school, there was never a principal the way you were a principal. Who cared so much about every student. There was not only a master teacher, but who was a master human being who taught the values of the education. Much more important than the facts.
I told Avi that I didn't think there was going to be enough time in the whole evening just for me to be able to express my feelings of love, admiration, gratitude for everything that you personally and of course your family, Debbie and your family, have done for me over the years. You were probably the greatest teacher I've ever had. You were someone who opened up his house to me. I spent many Shabbatot at your house. I spent a lot of time with you guys. Even when you were in Baltimore, thank God we were able to be together. And I think the one message that I want to say thank you for is that you were able to give me the appreciation that everything, even secular subjects like math, were Torah. And I'll never forget the feeling of excitement that we got from you when you were able to connect something from the Talmud with something we were learning in math, or just to bring the Torah into everything we were doing. And that's just one little smidgen of everything that you were able to get across to me and to so many of us.
Dr. Abelo, like a good old math assignment, I waited till the last minute to hand this in. I apologize. It's Nachum Siegel on Thursday night. A lot of people take credit for my career. What did I say? Success has many fathers. Failure is an orphan. But you're among the very, very few that really can take a lot of credit for what I ended up being, and I cannot thank you enough.
When I thought about when I got the email from Donnie, and I really began to think about the influence that you had on my life, I came up with what I thought was a very interesting insight. I think that you and Debbie were really the first Balei Tshuva that I met in my life, and certainly the first Balei Tshuva that didn't go on to become rabbis and change their whole lives upside down and turn themselves into something different because they became Balei Tshuva. And I think the influence that you had on me in those years in the Masifta, you and your family, was because here you were doing something that you loved, teaching science, teaching math, and incorporating Judaism into it, and incorporating the new ideas that you had in Yiddishkeit into the teaching and into the passions that you had in your life. And that, to me, certainly as I look back on my life, was a very, very important lesson.
Words of love from a former student, someone who was a great admirer of you from the 1970s until today. My teacher, algebra and trigonometry. Algebra I did okay, trigonometry not so good, and physics, which I still love until today. I thank you so much for all the wisdom you gave me. And I thank you so much for being a friend. And also, I see you as family. I have great memories from those days in high school at Mesivta or Torah. I used to drive us to Riverdale from Manhattan in those cold winter mornings. And I want to express to you how much I and we love you so much. Your humility, your Menschlichkeit, you always provided for us an example of how to be a real mensch. And to this day, I'm full of simcha whenever I see you. And very rare that anyone has a teacher like that. And I just want to thank you for everything and for the privilege of having you as a teacher.
Dear Dr. Abelo, while some people now call you Peter, I know, to me you will always be Dr. Abelo. With the emphasis on able, because that is certainly what you are, and with a warm heart for all of your charges, both the straggler and the star. I was an outstanding student, as you might recall, and spent my fair share of periods banished to the hall. And from there on to your office for another kind and encouraging oration. Your patient efforts paid off. I did manage to get some higher education. So thank you so much for all your support and confidence. The fact that I turned out okay is certainly no coincidence. But this is about you and not about me. We're here to celebrate you turning 70. In the eyes of this teenager, you were Keven Shivim Shana, back then, deserving of respect, erudite, and among the wisest of men. So to me, you are like Yehoshua, who made the sun stand still. A handy trick you must have picked up in physics school. Hey, headmaster, please teach me this drill.
As you know, Peter, I'm one of a whole bunch of former MHS students now living in Israel. You were in charge of the secular studies at MHS, and to this day I remember very fondly the many great teachers that taught us better and more math, science, and English than we ever got in college. And not least among these were your own physics and trig classes, which you taught with a smile and with well-aimed projectiles and with love. And I'd like to thank you for all that.
Peter, also Dr. A, we've had amazing memories together, whether it being from LSS or OTI, where I had the true privilege of being your student, to just being the babysitter for your precious kids. I remember the daily rides to OTI, where you take me back and forth to school every day, and the conversations we'd have. You've always had an impact on my life.
When Avi asked me if I would record something and maybe a memory, one came to mind immediately. We were in 10th grade in Dr. Previs's chemistry class, not in the first house, but in the second house across the street. And I had a little tape recorder, and I recorded the bell that played in between classes to signify the changing of classes. I played the bell 5 minutes before the end of class. Mr. Previs let us go. Second day, I played the bell 10 minutes before the end of class, and Mr. Previs let us go. The third day, I played the bell a little bit too early, probably about 15 minutes into the start of class. Mr. Previs promptly picked me up by the ear, dragged me across the street to Dr. A's office, told Dr. A what had happened, and Dr. A said, leave him here, and Mr. Previs went back to the class, who hopefully was gone. I don't even know. And Dr. A looked at me for what felt like a half an hour, probably was about a minute, without saying a word, and I knew I was in such trouble. And finally he said, David, save it for Purim. And he cracked a little bit of a smile, and he said, get back to class. Just a great memory that I have. I love learning from Dr. A, growing under Dr. A's guidance. And when I think back, happiest moments of my time in high school were when we got to interact. And I appreciate that.
I wanted to let you know what a wonderful impact you have had on my life, on the life of my family. I met you when I was an incoming high school freshman. I was shy, not so sure of myself. In fact, I don't know if you remember, there was a Torah High School Network Shabbaton, right, somewhere towards the beginning of high school. And I was so nervous not knowing any of the other girls there that I made myself sick. And you never made me feel bad about the fact that you had to leave and drive me home from Rockville or Potomac or Silver Spring, wherever that Shabbaton was, and you never made me feel bad about it. And slowly you helped me find more confidence and competence as I got involved in more and more things at school. Before long, I was involved in just about everything at BT. You gave me so many leadership opportunities, and my confidence grew, and I really blossomed there under your guidance. It has had a lifelong impact on me. So I guess I want to say thank you for pushing me in all the right directions, and also for demonstrating what a true educator is. Now that I am a teacher myself, I think it's fair to say that you're impacting an entire second generation. I hope that I am employing some of the wonderful things that I've learned from you in that regard. You're also impacting a second generation in another, even, I guess, more obvious way, since Jason and I, we had met before high school, but really got to know each other during high school. And as you well know, ended up getting married. Thank God. It's been 20 years so far. We have 2 beautiful children. So I guess you're impacting a second generation in a whole other way as well. So yeah, thank you for everything that you've done for me, for my family, for my students.
I'm honored and happy to have been a part of your life briefly during your stay in Baltimore. For those of you watching, Dr. Abelo and the entire family, the dedication that he had to his students went above and beyond. They took me into their home, made me feel a part of their family, literally, and I will always remember it, always be appreciative.
I just want to say thank you and take a moment to express my appreciation and gratitude for everything that you did as our principal at Vestafilla and that your family did to influence me and guide me at a certain crossroad of my adolescence. I was 16 years old and in the middle of my religious journey, and through your love of Torah and your honesty and your integrity as a person and everything that you did exemplified Torah and Midot between you and your family. You set a beautiful example for me and guided me in my way that led me to become a Torah-observant Jew, and also to be here now in Eretz Israel with a love of Zionism and to be able to live in the land. So all of this I credit to you and to your family for being a positive, wonderful influence on me and my life.
So I think that the success of a true tour guide can be seen when years later the person that you guided for can tell you, I am living in Israel because of you, Peter Abelo, that you instilled with me a love for Eretz Israel at the young age of 11 years old when I came to Israel for my bat mitzvah, and Mizchutcha, you're a part of my story. So much, much, much nachat from your children, your grandchildren, and happy birthday.
Shraga Tzvi, Yom Huledet Sameach.
I wish you, Dr. Abelo, well-deserved happiness and health aplenty, tranquility and peace till 120. And now I will conclude, as you taught us so well in geometry, you must always sign off with QED.
Happy birthday, enjoy the milestone, and thank you for everything.